Yeah,
Did you see the Jay-Z performance?
I did.
And
What do you
that
think?
for Sacred?
With his hair.
Yes.
No, seriously.
No, I think I didn't. Of course, it's his freestyle. I would have to like listen to it probably 10 times to like fully dissect it. But I was listening to people dissect it, and I was like,
He
yeah,
ate him up. He ate him up for
Yeah.
sure. Well, my thoughts about Jay-Z and are so complex and nuanced, but for the sake of how bad the girls ate us up for our Beyonce takes in the past, I'm never saying anything about their family ever again. It's except ravingly positive things for the sake of continuity of our podcast. So, my
Yeah.
God, he ate the
Yeah.
girls in the freestyle. That's my take.
Rosa. He ate the girls up.
Girls, because it
And his
wasn't
hair
just
looks luscious. And
luscious. I saw locticians on the internet was like, all right, y'all, prepare for all of the. You could take down my locks and my hair can still look for super thriving and healthy. Look at JC. And I was like, because I was like, child, to take down some locks and have your hair that big and fluffy. I said, is it sacred? Is it sacred? What Beyonce said. Whatever it is she's talking about, is it sacred? Anyway. Yeah, that was
but for
awesome.
context, he had like 5 locks there, so
That's true. What's that
it
called?
wasn't.
Wigs?
Yeah, they
Aren't they?
probably wasn't that mad at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Mad at it, but probably not that.
That's true. That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Girl, he probably tired them things. I'm just playing. I don't have nothing negative to say about them people. Not a one. Anyhow,
Why we gonna cancel us?
what'd you say?
I said, but why we gonna cancel us?
That part. This is her internet, actually. So
On a positive note, it looked great. No, literally.
they did, and their family looked cute. I love to see Beyonce in that cut. She was like, Beyonce love that man. What I say, I won't listen. Give me somebody that love me as much as Beyonce love that man. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you she love her husband. Okay.
Yeah.
25 seconds on this. This will be a cute little intro, and then we can do our navigating. You may have saw it.
Okay.
Whatever. I saw
Yep.
a tiki-taki of this girl essentially doing, I'm about to butcher it, but this is what I took from it, and I think I'll do it justice in terms of just trying to deliver the essence of what she was trying to say. It was about the spiritual laws spiritual laws about like whatever. She was essentially making the point that Beyonce set us back spiritually when she stayed with Jay-Z, and how we would have been much further in the social zeitgeist in terms of our conversations about dating and women empowerment and women not settling for less. And so she was kind of like tapping into or hearkening more spiritual language, but I don't have the remembrance to be able to pull it up, because I feel like I would be able to speak more to it if I can recall the video. But what I gathered from it, though, she was just saying, like, in our spiritual zeitgeist and even social, we would have been further along in terms of our understanding and our ability to leave tattered bad situations, if we had been bumping music that wasn't sandcastles. You know, she did Lemonade and then was like, but I stayed. And like, so essentially, like, so yeah, and the girls got into the comments and was like, start telling stories of like, yeah, I was feeling all the things, and I literally, when I needed to stay with my man or when I chose to stay, I just played it, and I really, I necessarily,
What?
this was the other, and at first I was like, hold on, I gotta read it to you. At first I was like, okay, yeah, that's a little great, that's, I was like, yeah, I'm here, I'm with it. But then somebody in the comments was like, basically that's what the whole Cowboy Carter album is, and baby, can I tell you, can I especially, hold on, it's one song on Cowboy Carter and I'm done. She says,
I'm trying to not get us canceled. Because what? Like,
no, it's a take. Okay, it's a take. It's a problematic take.
fake, like, almost took us out.
Well, let me see it through and then we decide if we're going in there. In Riverdance, no, Morgan, they're not wrong. In Riverdance, our good girl says, listen to this. This is she agrees with the girl. She said, dance, bounce on the, like, I'm gonna do the bounce on the dance, bounce on the ish. No, hands. Hold on. Running through the river, running through the river, how hard is it to run through? Imagine trying to run through a river. Okay, but anyway, staring down the barrel of his gun. Yes, he shot me down. I died and someone brought me back to life, but never to my senses. Because when you stay with that F you over, you just like, you remember her at that basketball games when she just, because all day long, all you thinking about, okay, whatever. Anyway, but never to my senses. You just doing the to-do, looking goofy. I mean, not that Beyonce looks goofy. Anyway, keep reading through the lyrics. I'm telling you, it hit me like a barrel of bricks.
Do I want to put all the onus on our failure as a generation to leave men on Beyonce? No. But I do relate to. I'm bringing it up. I'm trying to save us. Go
ahead. Save us.
But I do you, when you stay with a man, you kind of always had that like inkling in the back of your head, like, are they talking about me because I stayed with him? Should I have stayed? Should I have left? They might be talking about me because I stayed with him. F it, I'm Beyonce. But in reality, I'm thinking about staying. I stayed with him. And I'm mad at myself for staying with him. I should have left. So, I mean, that probably will be a theme throughout the rest of her music that she will or won't create.
Yeah. And I don't even think it's a matter of, like, I think the two can exist. Sometimes, this is, we'll save it. You can be like, I don't emotionally feel like doing that. And I tell my clients that even all the time, because they be like, no, don't judge me, don't judge. And I'd be like, girl, sometimes the reality is it going to be too much? Is it going to be more emotional exhaustion to leave or to stay? I'm not the person to make that decision for you. You got to make that for yourself. But ultimately, which emotional exhaustion are you willing to put up with or to endure? But either way, you're gonna be bounced. You're just kind of doing the do-si-do, like, and you're going through the motions of like, ooh.
And the other thing is, I think also after you analyze, because I imagine when people stay after like something heartbreaking, like cheating or stuff like that, you do weigh out the pros and cons of like, or the context of how we got here, right? And like, it was a rough patch. It was hard. It was this. And was cheating even that high on my list of unforgiven actions, you know? But also society says cheating should be on that high list. So yeah.
You just gotta weigh out your options. No, you just weigh out your again, because let's be very clear, we keep keying about Beyonce, but she's just the archetype of what we're talking about, which is what we always say here. To be with a man as a woman.
Okay, the problem is that people want to be in relationships with people. I don't know. We're human. I don't know. The patriarchy. Let's just I don't know, because people want to be in relationships and you're always going to give up something under the patriarchy. You're always going to give up something to be in a relationship.
That's it. You finna give up something. And so that's what I'm saying. It's not, because in the same CD or album, you would talk about like how good how good the sex is, or like, and all of it, it's all of it at the same time. And so I just think it's okay to acknowledge this part of it, that like there are real life implications and sacrifices of staying. And also there are real life implications and sacrifices in not staying. And like, you pick I won't call it a poison, but you pick your drink and just recognize that it's gonna have a little bitter taste. Maybe it's the aftertaste, maybe it's the pre-taste. But it's gonna have a little twang in it. It's gonna have a little twang.
And I wanna also take it away from the patriarchy. you lose stuff under the classism as well because they are
Yep,
billionaires.
that's true.
That would
That's
have
true.
been untangling of things if they were to get a divorce. Or if,
Mhm.
so it's kinda like, "You know what? Let's make the best of it. I actually do love you, but don't ever do that to me again, and I'm going to publicly
Yeah,
shame
and
you
I'm
for
gonna
it.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah.
for me."
And
You
and
should
and that 100 and in my silent times, sometimes that I'm just sitting there looking at you sleeping, or I'm just sitting here like, and I'm happy about our life. I'm so glad we stay. All the things, and then sometimes there'll be days where I'm just like, what could my life have been had I made a different choice? And now I'll always live with this lingering, like, it's not that I don't forgive you. It's not that I'm not, and also though, it has consequences when you betray your partner, or when the inevitable pains of relationships start to take hold or start to happen. You will always kind of live with that level of like, but what if, and I just think that's a reality of being partnered. And is it a reality that I think we still kind of should take, because like we always say, to be in community is to be burdened in some regards. Yeah, like, all of that to say is your choice. So anyway, welcome to the What's on the Agenda podcast.
What are you navigating?
Oh my, bless his name. Bless their name, because I'm really getting better at that. Anyway, um
Bless their holy. Oh, that's funny.
no, bless God's whole what? Oof. Yeah, let me anyway. Okay, for people who don't know and don't talk us or watch us all the time, we really are being intentional about not gendering God any longer. Um and so yeah, just trying to be into and I know particularly for me, because I know some people reverence God as a woman, and that's their prerogative for sure. I just know for me, I just want to remove gender altogether. So that's why we're kikiing about this. Okay, what am I navigating? Um Honestly, guys, I've been moving so much for the last several months. And I have finally like really settled for real this time. And well, partially for real. And anyway, so what I've been navigating is just trying to get internet in my house, furniture in my house. I'm currently on the floor sitting next to my good old mattress on the floor. You hear that? And yeah, I got my living room and all set up pretty much for the most part, and now I'm working on the bedroom. So that's what I'm navigating. It ain't even nothing extravagant. Trying to get my life together so I can record YouTube videos and be a podcaster in real life now and stop playing games with us. So, yes. How about you? What are you navigating?
Well, congratulations on your new digs. You know, even though moving can be stressful.
Very much.
What am I navigating? Little
Mhm.
baby had her second birthday weekend. It was so freaking cute. It was so many people in
Yeah,
our house. Um,
I
I'm
love that.
so grateful for people showing up. Um, Now I'm distracted. Um, she, I
Mhm.
think, had fun with her little cousin, friends, and also had fun with my people. Um, and it just reminded me of the world community that I want to create for her. And because like my family and Desmond's family and our community is full of like an array of black people. Um, and I'm actually was thinking like, and there always a sprinkle of white people, always, and literally, if I think about, like, my family growing up, somehow there's always at least one white person, and that was how it was yesterday. I mean, this weekend, whether it be somebody that was married into the family or a friend, like,
Yeah,
so a little
yeah.
diverse, uh, all aspects, and, it was really fun, it was really lovely, I was very overwhelmed, hit my pen one too many times and only hit it twice. And was like, "Shouldn't have did that." because now it's too many people. Like, I was like, oh shoot. But um, uh, yeah. So I was aware, or half aware of what was going on, but it was a good time. I I don't know. I think I just I when I think about the community I want to create for her, like I truly want like her to be able to hang out with every dimension of Black person and appreciate every dimension for what it is and not from a I'm better than you or I'm lesser than you. We are just all in community. And it was also fun to see my nieces and nephews kind of see me in
Yeah.
an element because I had a beer and they was like, Mark, you don't drink. I'm like, okay. And then I was also I was singing "Where All I'm Scamming." I was singing Carisha, and they
Yeah.
was like, "How you know that song?" My peer, not yours. Like, so, like,
There goes there lies the
that's always
problem.
fun, right? Uh, but it was great. It's gotten me thinking a lot about community again, and as always,
Yeah.
and it was just a good weekend. We heard all the
Right.
stuff, but I loved having everybody at the house, and when I think about my home and, like, what I wanted to represent and be, it's kinda, like, just lively and all the people at the house. Um, and it was beautiful.
I
That's
love
what I'm
that.
advocating.
I love how, like, uh, the thing that is so integral to our, like, literal nature as humans. And every time we do it, we always feel like when people come over, that's what I'm getting at. When people come over, you get the fam like the whole big thing. You feel so full, you feel so all of this, and yet everything in our world is like moving completely away from it. And then we are just like, what's going on? Like we're reminded every single time that the community is the answer. Community is the answer. Community is the answer. And yet, and I'm obviously talking on a macro level because I know it's harder for us to whatever buck up against systems. But I'm just saying, like it's like every single time we're reminded that community and family and friendship and closeness is the answer, and we still just be spinning our wheels trying to make all the solutions to all the problems that wouldn't exist if we would just get back to the origins of what it requires to be a thriving human. It's so strange to me. Anyway,
Yeah.
I love that though.
I, I think I just it was I don't know, I was also overwhelmed with people coming from out of town. We have 2 bathrooms in our room, and of course, the one upstairs is quote unquote the one that's like the master, even though we have a master bedroom, but it's like our bathroom. And like I just love the familiarity of sisters because the only people that went to my bathroom was my sisters, and they were like, "My bad, I just had to use the bathroom." But I'm just like, I don't care. Like, but
Yeah.
also like I know that nobody else would have went up there to use the bathroom
Yeah.
because that's not the familiarity of like, you
Mhm.
know, you
Mhm.
don't go into the bathroom, but also
Mhm.
like, "Girl, you might Like,
Right.
Imma
Right.
apologize because it's polite, but I gotta
And
pee.
right.
Um,
Man, and the critical like I love that you said it because it's like so how critical it is to have siblings. Like siblings is a really not that like if you don't have multiple kids or if you don't have kids at all, that's fine. But I'm just saying like that is such a beautiful. You're right. That level of familiarity and closeness without pretense or without having to put on masks. Like that is a closeness that is like almost exclusively reserved for siblingness and having siblings, and like that's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal and should be considered when people think about, should I not, should if that is an option for you, put that on the list. In terms of everything, I mean, in conjunction with everything else, I'm not saying do it or don't. 100%, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that should also be weighed too. That's a beautiful thing, and it's an element that I feel like only siblings and a few other relationships, but largely only siblings know that level of closeness, familiarity without just like, "Girl, I do what I want. You me. I'm you."
Here on the What's on the Agenda podcast, we give space for the nuance. We want to talk through social issues that impact Black women socially, politically, financially, and all the illies. So, what's in the agenda? Okay. Um, so our main topic today is kind of based on like the conversation that we were having about what kind of brought up the conversation was this weekend in community and all the things. As coupled with something that Raven was talking about on TikTok about I'm not gonna say it. You gotta say it. You gotta say it. um a public health crisis that
Hey, WOTA fam. Thank you so much for listening to our pod each week.
as we're continuing to grow, we would love if you would give us a 5-star review on whatever platform you are listening to us on.
And make sure you're subscribed on all the platforms you listen to us on.
And comment on our page. We would love to shout you out.
Now, enjoy the rest of the pod. I was on the internet the other day, and I am actually, let me take the glee out of my voice because I'm not talking about this happily, but I saw that a classmate of mine from high school, her little brother had passed away. And truly, I don't know. I don't even I don't engage with these people personally, but it did make me start thinking about some things that I think about all the time as a Black person, because how can you not? But but in a more pointed way. It made me think about how the season of Black death is upon us. And I know that sounds really morbid and dark and harsh and all the things, but it don't make it any less true. And and I think part of the reason why, whatever, I think sometimes we've become so accustomed to that, me saying it and calling it out like that makes us more uncomfortable than the actual reality of what actually happens every summertime season in Black communities. Yeah, I just wanted to talk about it because the guy, the little boy who passed away, again, my classmate's little brother who passed away, couldn't have been more than 25. And again, I think 25 is too generous. Um, Matter of fact, yeah, 20, I know 25 is too generous. He couldn't have been over 22. He's a baby. And when I think about just like how casually we just be losing young Black kids all the time. And last thing I'll say is I recall while I was thinking about this, I recalled being in high school and how many cousins and not even friends, but classmates that I'd lost, and like how many funerals and t-shirts with 15, 14, 13, 16, 17-year-old little boys on it, or little girls too, actually. And I would just be like, it just felt regular until and I'm like, this not normal. And finally I made a TikTok about it, and I was talking about how although the CDC does do studies, like it's a ton of research, and even it points to places where violence intervention stuff has worked. For the most part, though, we don't treat it like the level of with the level of urgency that it deserves. And also, this is a public health crisis. Children die repeatedly at like astronomical levels, and we don't treat it like the public health crisis that it is. And that freaks me out and it makes me sad. And we're headed to Black Death season. That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah. Um, we were talking about, like, as it being a this is the second recording, guys. We have technical
Yes.
difficulties. As on why it's not a public health crisis, and why, even if it
Yeah.
is a health crisis, why money isn't going behind it. And it literally is all the things that we constantly talk about of, like, we have to be, first of all, in order to put money behind something, you have to find value behind it.
Yeah.
Um,
That's good.
we
Hmm.
and in order to, like, cause the problem to, like, cease, you have to put money behind it. That's why, like, it's necessary for, like, there to be
Hmm.
policy put in place to put people in place to, like, care about, like, summer camps. And we see in, like, Baltimore, I think, where the mayor put the money behind that, and their crime rate drastically dropped. But, like, I was, hearing my sisters and my cousins talking about, like, what's for the summer, and, like, obviously what are the kids gonna do for the summer? And it's like, obviously, like, um, the more well-to-do areas have better resources, and the other non-well-to-do areas don't, and have more summer camps and whatnot. And one of my sisters was saying, like, the money's there, it just needs the politicians to be like, "Actually, let's bring, like, we need that for our area." So it's like having the people in place to say, "Bring that to my space," is necessary. And I'm also just thinking about, in this moment, there was a little boy, killed, in, was it Philly? No, South Carolina?
Hmm.
Cyrus. tarmac belting,
Oh, yeah.
was shot in
Oh,
the back,
yeah.
after being chased, out of a convenience store or from a convenience store or whatever. Um, and when little boys and little girls don't have nowhere safe to go, they find their own way to have fun, even if that fun looks like mischief to somebody else, or even if
Mhm,
their fun leads them to, like, "Let's stop at the store and go somewhere," it leads them to possibly getting racially profiled. And, like, when I was riding around my little cousin, my nephew, sorry, when they were here, and they were like, "Cincinnati's mean." And I was like, "What happened?" And they were outside playing basketball with the basketballs that be on the outside of the store to, for you to buy inside the store. And, the clerks were, like, yelling at them, telling them, like, "Don't blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "My bad, it's okay, I'm sorry." And I'm having to explain this conversation to them that I know their parents have had with them, that
mhm,
y'all gotta get it through your head that you're Black boys. Like,
mhm.
and
Jesus.
as unfortunate as that is and how we have to navigate that, you have to put that into perspective that
Mhm,
are going to get looked at any kinda way,
mhm.
uh, even though you are 14, and I think one of my nephews was 11. So
Guilty until proven innocent. Yeah.
right, uh,
Mhm.
so all of this is, like, in the same conversation of,
Okay.
like, um, when the sun come out, the niggas come outside, and when the
Mhm,
niggas come outside and there ain't nothing for the niggas to do, they gonna figure out something to do. But also, when niggas congregate, when Black boys and Black girls congregate, what comes? The police.
yep, yep,
We have more police shootings in the summer because the folks is outside.
yep, yep. Especially poor Black folks. When poor Black well, all Black
Right.
people again, because it's skin particular, and then socioeconomic class only adds to that more.
Yeah.
But I love that you brought I hate it because it's such a harrowing story, but also we can't talk about this without obviously, yeah, talking about, that murderer child who, his last name is Child, to be clear, who shot that baby and murdered that baby. He's a murderer. He's a murderer. Full stop. Don't care what the court said. He's a murderer. He's an actual all-out cold-blooded killer. And anyway, yeah, the same reason why Black death and Black youth dying or Black youth mortality isn't treated like the public health crisis that it deserves to be and it needs to be. The same reason why it's not treated in that way is the same reason why that murderer what was in South Carolina where was it, Morgan? South Carolina?
I think South Carolina.
Okay. Well, wherever he is, I think it is South Carolina too. The same reason is the same reason that Black youth mortality is not treated like a public health crisis is the same reason child got off. Because America has historically set a precedent that Black life is worth less, worthless
Right.
and worth literal less than everybody else's. And that's the message that has permeated our social zeitgeist, like our culture. And I was talking about this the other day, how every industry that we hold dear, that we hold as credible and where we get our credibility as a country as a leading body of like in the world we're leading in education, well, let me be clear, leading in terms of everybody wants to come here for our academic institutions, not that kids are actually outperforming people, but that's a whole other conversation. But in terms of academic prowess and respect, and where everybody's like, oh, you want to get the best, go to X place, they usually reference us, right? These same institutions that bolstered us to that place also for centuries supported literal all out racism in terms of like perspectives. But institutions of psychology, the American Psychological Association, religions, right? So like where do we get our where we get our understanding about psychology, where we get our understanding about God, how we engage with the law, meaning judicial system. What's another big institution that countries run off of? So you got the law, psychology, that's human nature. The law is legal. Um,
I mean, you
church,
can add health
obviously,
system.
God. Say it again.
You can add public health and policy, which is still law and
But it's its own leg, right? Medicine, exactly. All of them. were built, because you got to think of it like this: the country was built on racism. Racism is interwoven into the DNA, and then all the systems that then emanated from that country all supported the premise that Black people were less than. And so, anyway, the point is, because of that, even though many of the institutions started to decry him, literally some in the 90s, some in the early 2000s, like, so when it became politically expedient to do so, then they all started kind of walking it back. I recently just learned about the American Psychological Association doing it in 2021. I was like, that to me, like for so long they literally supported the idea that Black people's brains were smaller. Like even back in the 60s, I think it was like 26% of psychologists still were like Black people were intellectually inferior, like in the 60s, like this 1960, to be clear, not 18, because I know everybody be thinking that this is, it's like, anyway. So the point is, even if you walk it back, it's ingrained in how we move, how we talk, how we engage with one another. And on top of how all of Black neighborhoods and Black people's stuff looks run down and torn down, comparatively speaking. And so not only have we ingratiated it into our curriculums, into our literal state of being in terms of our DNA as a country, but also everything that you see is reflective of those quote unquote, put it in very clear, quote unquote truths that these institutions upheld for literally centuries. And so what does all that have to do with child? Because when you circle it all back, why would he see a 14-year-old little baby boy's body and be like, I need to leave the store. I need to take all of our resources and leave this place. He left somebody at the counter. His son left somebody at the counter as they were paying to go and chase down this child and chase him, and then not only chase him, but murder him. He don't see his body as anything valuable, or to the extent that he does, it's less than even his immigrant body. And I don't say that nefariously, like, oh, immigrants are bad, but I'm saying this is an American born child, and you still less than me, nigga, because all of our institutions have permeated that into his mind. That's how the two can be this. Does that make sense? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I appreciate the wraparound of like, um, when people come to the idea of like, how do we get here is like, it is built in our systems. Of all of our systems point to Black lives being lesser than. And then if all of the systems that people are coming, not even just institutions of like higher education, but if you come into this country and you learn that immigrants typically are treated better than Black people, then you are falling into the you're assimilating into the same rhetoric that I am
Yep.
better than, but also like, um, just in the sense of like when we think about better than, I mean, or more value, whatever he was accused of stealing, right? Whatever, right, is worth more. The property of that is worth more than his body.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, if you got on no backpack, you got on a jacket and some jeans at the most, you might have been able to take a couple of bag of chips and maybe a drink. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
$15 at the most of inventory. There's no way that it would. None of it equates to a human life, but all of it was worth more of
Mm-hmm.
whatever he was accused of taking, looking at too hard, whatever was worth more than his actual life.
Mhm.
When in
Mhm.
reality, you could have definitely ran down the street, said, no, 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 don't come back. Walked back to the
Yep.
store. And that's it.
Mhm. And to be clear, because 100%, like, and I'm so glad people keep making that comparison. And also, he hadn't stolen nothing, so that don't really
Right.
even need to be a part of the conversation. But because people continue to make it, and I understand why, all the things, but it don't need to be a part of this conversation because the baby didn't
Right.
steal a thing. And I thought in my mind, I was like, what made him run like that? But I'm sure this is a
Right.
child. And so you see these people chasing you out the store, and you probably already know the rumors about him having gunned
Mhm.
somebody down previously. Like, regardless, kids do all kind of stuff. I'm not even gonna say dumb because I don't want to characterize it as though he did anything wrong, because he didn't. But he was scared. I'm sure he was scared
Mhm.
because these psychopaths just left the store after he hadn't done anything. He don't know what's capable, and they in the South, and he knows explicitly and implicitly that his life has little value based off of the standards and the metrics of where he lives. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, like, but to your point though, really quick, you said a couple things I want to respond to. Um, what'd you say? Hold on. You talked about oh. I mean, it's literally documented that immigrants like the ability to get loans, right? Like business loans, much easier, right? Even oh, this is what I wanted to speak to. Yeah. Oftentimes immigrants come here, and I know this is an exhaustive conversation, but it deserves to be said, right? Because every time you have this conversation, there's still 10 more people that still believe in this same white ideology and rhetoric around black people being lazy. And when they see a black life, like a 14-year-old boy playing with an AK-47 on his Facebook, or doing what feels like frivolous, silly things, they can't conceptualize why they would do this. And they're born in this country of opportunity, and you have so much at your disposal in terms of resources and wealth building. Why would you resort to the lowest common denominator in terms of behaviors and things like that? But you're looking at the glass half empty, or like, yeah, half empty, sweetheart. You don't like, you're purposefully being obtuse. You come over here and take advantage of all the resources, yeah, without doing a full scope and deep dive into the history of this country and how at every turn black people have tried to invest into that same capitalist system that you worship so much. You don't look at how all of our all of our efforts toward trying to invest in capitalism, because it's supposed to invest back in you. When you invest in the system, it'll invest back into you. And at every turn, we've been turned away. We've been oppressed. We've been marginalized. We've been literally terrorized when we try to seek out upward mobility in the same ways that you guys have. So and then the classic talking point, and I'm done here. It's the Voting Rights Act and it's the Civil Rights Act that we fought for that made it plausible and possible for y'all to be here in the first place.
Right.
So you wouldn't even be able to be here doing all your things with all your upward mobility and your cute little businesses in our communities, by the way, without the fight and the strife and the efforts of black people that you be shaming and yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah. um, I don't know. I'm thinking about like what is to blame here? Um,
mm, good. That's a
I
good
don't want it to
pivot.
be
Yeah.
like
Hmm.
um like an immigrant versus American like conversation,
Yeah.
but very much a educated versus not educated on our systems versus not. I think
Yeah.
because um I don't know. I don't know. I don't want the
I'm
conversation to
glad you
lean
bringing
too
that.
heavy into
Yeah.
y'all wrong. Like,
Yeah.
I
No, you're
mean,
right. You're right.
no. I
You're
don't know.
careful to be like you're smart to be careful. Let's be clear. Even because even as I was going off, I know my passion can sometimes be mistaken as like what's it called, xenophobia or anything, and it's not that at all. I am not like I'm so pro immigrant. It's not even funny because I know who our common enemy is. We don't need to say. So it's not xenophobic by any means. But do we need spaces for education sometimes for immigrants who come over a little bit ignorant about the history? Yeah, and that's okay
Yeah,
to say. Even passionately, it's okay to say. I've been chased around in beauty supply stores, Korean on beauty supply, and that has nothing to do with Korean people being bad, and that has everything to do with two things: ignorance, which is okay. Education helps ignorance, but then sometimes it has everything to do with also too, you're in a difficult community, a working class community where there is higher levels of theft. Okay. And we can talk about that and how you're paranoid and how you're frustrated at that. If I owned a store and my store got stolen stuff every day, okay, okay, that is an element of doing business, and especially
it is.
in the community that you chose to be in. That is an element of it. And so you have to figure out, rather than judging, and you can be angry, but now you have to that you're a business owner. You're an innovator in your community. So figure out how to innovate in your community around the circumstances that you chose to do business in, Pookie Butt. We
Right.
didn't ask you to come. Anyway, oh, I just, again, it's starting to sound worse, and it's not meaning to be that way, but
No, I think
yeah.
because even if I was to like yes, I understand the frustration of like theft and all the things. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's loss prevention. Like, you write that into your business, like, bottom line or whatever, and you call it a day. Or you hire security that probably is aware of, like, the culture that you are I mean, not the culture, the community that you're a part of, and you let them handle that as the expert in that and not you. Um,
I understand, yeah,
and
yeah. Mhm.
yeah, it's okay. I was saying that this is now a conversation about small businesses and large businesses and, like, corporations because, yes, larger companies have the ability to, like, put into their, like, um, bottom line or whatever, I don't know our terminologies of, like, loss prevention and, like, keeping that, at the forefront. But, like, these larger companies, they know, like, you don't chase people. There's policy. You don't chase people outside
Yeah,
the store.
yeah.
In a bag that's not your this if it's in a bag that's not your bag, you like Forever
Mhm.
21 versus Old Navy, you don't chase them people.
Right,
Um, and this girl, she was saying when she worked in retail, she was saying, like, when somebody, like, runs out the store and if they're capable of stealing in broad daylight, you have no idea what they're capable of, when you leave that store. So it's
right.
like you let that be. Call it a
That's
day. And,
mhm.
like, I understand the amendments to have, like, your second right amendments, et cetera, et cetera. But at the same time, like, at the most, if he was stealing something, sorry, like,
Mhm,
write it off at this
mhm,
point, like, and
mhm.
I'm pretty sure you can, like, write stuff off as business owners as, like, but I think it comes down to, like, a lack of respect type of thing,
Yes.
um, and that also is rooted in, like, the racism that, is geared towards Black people. And, like,
Under
these people don't respect that, like, respect my culture, these people don't respect my business, et cetera, forgetting the reason why these children are even maybe even going to the store in the first place, because you are the only store that maybe even has food if we think about a food desert. Um, and all the different things, like, the nuances of, like, whatever community that you're in. If you're gonna be the store that is selling the formula to get children formula and food, then you also have to realize why you the store in the first place, because there ain't no grocery store around or no resources to give them the things they need. Going back to the point you made of, like, educating
Mhm,
yourself in the community that you're in.
mhm. Because guess what? That would also be required if you were comparing and contrasting, how many stores in that neighborhood provide what you provide. Like, to
Right.
do your due diligence to be a business owner, you have to do your due diligence to be that business owner. And it just so happens that to do your due diligence to be a business owner in more lower working class communities, you have to also factor in theft, especially to the degree that you see that in that community. It's the same thing as if I was trying to find an apartment and I was like, okay, I love this neighborhood. It's kind of walkable, but I know around the corner it may love gang violence. Okay, so let me make the best choice for me. Or is it that you can't afford to go anywhere else, and so you tolerate coming to these neighborhoods, but then you feel is it an air of superiority such that I can do whatever I want to these people because they don't have no money, they don't have no resources, and so I can make money off of them and their community and their families, and also at will shoot, hurt, harm, even disparage these people because they're lesser than me. I just had to do what I had to do. Even though they're a little lesser than me, long as I was able to get this loan and do a little bit more, then I feel confident and confident in myself. And again, this is not a broad sweeping brush. I'm not saying that that's all who like all people of Asian descent feel this way who start businesses in Black communities. What I'm just saying is, as a person who grew up in these sort of exact communities, I've been in ones where they literally became like family. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, to this day, the one around the corner from my mom's house, the house that I grew up in, if I go in there, it literally feels like a family reunion. I will hug her mom and well, actually her mom passed, but even that, the fact that I know that, right? Like, I love the women that I grew up around. I used to walk there every day, get my little $10 pack of Milky Way, period. That was when I first started doing hair, like, all of it, and they used to give me discounts because they knew I was just some little broke little middle school girl trying to learn how to do hair. Like, I have a beautiful relationship with the women around the corner from my mom's house. But I've also been in ones that was not a little bit further from my mama's house, again, where they treated me like trash. So, it's less about it being a broad sweeping brush and more about how white supremacist ideology in this country makes it more accessible for immigrants of all descents, but since we're talking about Asian immigrants at this moment, to align themselves with white supremacy a little too easily, such that they forget that, like, Pookie Butt, first of all, it's this very community that you're making your money off of that made it possible for you to be here. And so even if you don't fully understand the scope of why the behaviors that we do that may feel maladaptive and bad and all the things, it's in your best interest to learn to understand it and align with us.
Right.
Rather
Right.
than the alternative. And I hope that gave yeah. So
I forgot what I was about to say to that, but um yeah, very much so giving you forgot, like, if we all on the same route, they still not gonna choose neither one of us. None of us.
mhm. Yeah,
So,
yeah. But so
yeah.
back to the summer thing though, in all of that, because I'm like,
Yeah.
"Ooh." To the summer thing though, yeah, I think I was just thinking about, like, let's talk about the moms for a second, if that's okay. Um, like, I'd be thinking about how much the moms how casual it is for Black mothers to lose their children, and I'm saying children specific, their kids, because I'm not talking about adult children, I'm saying like Black babies, the loss of Black babies, like, you can't help to connect it to historically because it's just always been the persistent pattern in this country since we hit these shores, but, yeah, I think that's what's really stunning me. I don't even have anything profound to offer about it. It just broke my heart, and I think at a very minimum, this deserves conversation and for us to think through it, like how common and how much we've almost forced Black people to just accustom themselves to ourselves to losing our children, and it's like, in America, literally be like, oh, oh,
Nope. Yeah. Yeah, and it's embedded into our it's embedding into our parenting,
mm-hmm,
the talk we have with our children, regardless of, like, if they're your children or not, the talks you have to
mm-hmm,
your cousins and your nephews, I'm sure all of us have at some point, um, that the way we navigate this world is embedded into, like, how we grow up. Lord have mercy. We have, I ain't gonna put they business out here like that, but, just like even in how we talk about dating and dating other cultures and, like, the warnings that we give our family members if they decide to, um, disobey Dr. Umar and do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is in how we talk about how they go to school, how they dress, how they go, like, recently I've had a thought, like, respectability politics might be a savior for some, and that's just the reality, like, that they, in order for them to get to a level that's up a little bit, or in order for them, like, there is a biting into, like, in as much as, and if you take a step back, I think, and analyze, like, survival in America for Black people, there's always a touch of respectability sprinkled into it, because there is always this tug of war, this balance that we are all trying to navigate to stay down for our culture, our cause, our community, but also making it in a very white, male centered world. So the
mm-hmm.
respect, like, I'm saying all that to say, the way we have learned how to, I'm learning not to judge how Black people learn how to survive in this country. Whether that's literally on the spectrum of,
I love that. I love that.
because
Mm-hmm.
that part of this conversation originally was, like, I understand why some Black people go off and cut their family off so that their family that they create is able to flourish. Don't like it, but I understand it, because conversations we've had on the podcast before, like, when Black women are in community with people who make lesser money than them, that Black woman on paper might have millions of dollars. In reality, she probably has zero, because she's constantly giving to the people she's in community with that she loves. Because in order for us to survive, we have to lean on each other.
Yeah.
The middle class person staying in community with the person on food stamp, easily, like, that is an easy trade off. You buy them food stamps 2 for 1, and that person get money in their pocket, you able to eat, because the middle class lifestyle is good on paper, but in reality, you might not have so much money.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I understand that. I also understand a person who's dealing with so much racism and fear, because some of that is just like um the traumas of like life, and then maybe like the traumas of like walking through fear of like being a parent to multiple black children, and they might choose the alcohol, the drugs, or whatever, and they're literally just trying to survive. And like, so thinking about the mothers in this case, I've literally seen um I've seen black mothers adapt so much in like just trying to make sure their children survive, are doing their best to make sure their children survive. And summertime can be very difficult for a lot of black mothers in terms of how am
Mhm.
I going to feed my children, how I'm going to keep my children safe while I'm at work, especially when there ain't no villages and there ain't no summer camps. And how can I afford the summer camps? Like
Yeah.
summertime is very, very difficult for a lot of black mothers, black families. Sorry,
I
black
I
families.
I
Yeah.
I I'm so glad you brought in that payment thing. Like, how can I afford to get them something productive for the summertime? I didn't even think about that element. Like,
School
oh,
people, a lot of people.
I didn't even think about that element. I'm sitting there thinking about again, I'm not even getting I'm such a therapist because I'm sitting there thinking about the emotional toll and like the way, but yeah, you're right. Like, and even that added emotional weight of I can't afford it. So like, what do I have to do? Just relegate them to the streets and then they grow up and let all these random places and people raise them because I'm trying to work so that they don't starve and that I don't starve. And that breaks my heart. I can't. That's too deep. That's too deep. But I will say to that though, so bringing in that therapy element like I always do, can we just like put ourselves there in terms of that level of conundrum, tension, like stress? And when you talk about like, how are you supposed to thrive like that? How are you supposed to be happy? Like I'm not, and not, oh, happiness is fleeting. It's not about happiness. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Whatever word you want to put in there that is synonymous with joy,
Mm,
feelings of goodness. How are you supposed to thrive under those conditions? And I hope this don't ever be seeming like we just coming on here just to complain because it's not because we're obviously actively trying to buck up and I think more than anything, I just wanna leave space for it because I think we're so accustomed to Black women in particular, Black people, we're so accustomed to this being the lived reality and then our frustrations coming out or it manifesting in pain and sickness and all of that, and we don't really ever just get to name it because it's just such our lives, right? And so sometimes I just like saying, no, 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 let's short style, let's some group therapy and just say it. Girl,
right.
that's crazy that we lose children at the rates that we do. And then also still be expected to go to work and do all the things. And let's just say you're trying to prevent, like you said, from being lost, but you can't afford to do all the things that most people can to keep your kid active and productive and not, dwelling in the streets all summer long. Like what they supposed to do? Bro,
Right.
that's it's wild. It's wild, wild business. It's wild, wild business.
Yeah. I think it's also, I mean, also like you you can't have the conversation of like the boys need to play more than just football to uh
I've
aspire and
been
all
seeing
this
that a
stuff.
lot. I've been seeing that a lot, Morgan.
That's fine. They cannot play football. They can play something else. But are you going to pick them up and take them to the golf lesson? Are you going to pick them up? Because I've been telling my nephew to play golf. Are you going to pick them up to do the things? Because while there should be more options for black boys to find a way to get into college or like find a way to stay active, the leagues are out here. The little neighborhood leagues are out here. The little boys is selling the water on the side of on the side of the corner, raising money for the football team. Like they trying to find ways to get the boy. And granted, it might be need to be renovated, not renovated, renewed. Uh, I don't know. We need to have some more options. There's plenty of us that got some college degrees. We can put our heads together and figure out like other ways to um um hold space for these young people. But the reality is we also facing a crisis of probably people not wanting to actually be in those spaces of like, oh, we are literally not creating the cookouts. Like we're trying to create the spaces for us, and are we also need to be creating the spaces for the children.
Girl, put a pin on that. I
the book, like literally, like, and I'm thinking about this in like in actual real time, as you say,
Me
like
too.
the recess things I be seeing, the community things I be seeing about the like, come play with us on a Saturday, like people our age, blah blah blah. And like last episode or on one of these past episodes, you were talking about like how TikTok is a shared space. I don't think we're doing a very good job of sharing our space with the children who actually need safe spaces. In like what's Mundani? What's his name? Is that his name?
Mom
That's not
Donnie.
Mundani.
Mhm.
Like there definitely there definitely needs to be some more black not black people of color, diverse people running for office so that like people can so our actual cities can change.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, again, I'm thinking about it real time. That's what's taking me a minute because I've been needing to think because first thing you said a couple things I'm going to say. First thing, I have been seeing that. I've been seeing that I think I think I've seen about 2 posts about it that have gotten kind of bigger about the whole let's put our kids in more things and like let's push black boys to move beyond just football. And immediately I was just like, yes, 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 yes. But like with everything in our community, it's never just that simple, Pookie Butts. Like it's never just that simple. Like because you're right. Like not only does football act as the main means out of poverty, although a lot of times that is what we envision when we put our sons in it, but in addition to that, I mean, it acts as multiple things that I can just spit off real quick, but I'm sure things that I'll miss. A means out of poverty in terms of like many of us have only seen like doctor, lawyer, football player. Wait, what? You know what I mean? Like it's like for obvious reasons. It's not. I mean, I get it, right? And also, so means out of poverty or possibility of means out of poverty. The second thing that it acts as is keeping your son off the street kind of a thing. Because in our brains, it's like, oh, he got aggression, but where can he put out this aggression? And it's and it's crazy because even that just shows like it's just a lack of education and a lack of understanding about aggression don't mean so he needs to go somewhere and punch things. No, 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 no. He needs to be loved. But even you know what I'm saying? Like it's this warped understanding of the world taught us to look at our sons as these like audacious, not audacious, aggressive, almost like barbaric little things that just can't be controlled. And we got to find a way to control them. So put them and let them hit some stuff.
Right.
I'm not even trying to be funny because like I can't help but to be silly, but I'm not being funny about this. So anyway, whatever. So that's one element. And then the third element, hold on, why do we put our boys in? Yeah, I guess that was it. So yeah, I think the second one would have been the aggression piece, and we just see them as they got aggression, let them go punch.
Right.
It's a little bit more, but okay. And then the third one, yeah, keeping them off the streets essentially. And oh yeah, so I guess the fourth, keep it off the streets. 3A though would be coaches act as surrogate fathers in many communities and homes that don't have it, and so and when you think about traditional masculinity, ooh, we cooking today. When you think about traditional masculinity and the patriarchy, oftentimes women see like a football coach, you know, he could be a daddy.
But listen though, okay, because
Yeah, yeah.
I have qualms with the football coaches, little league, all the things. I do have qualms with them. However, a lot of them are doing it for free.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's not a bad thing. I hope I didn't give off that. I think it's great. I just found them.
So
Yeah.
no, I didn't say the qualms. The qualms are that
Yeah.
also they are dating cesspools. Like they're terrible. Like it'd be the mamas and you know what I mean. Like it'd be mess. It'd be mess. But also
And also,
they do try to mentor the boys into the right
they do.
direction. That's
They
why I
do.
was saying I don't know what conversation we was talking about, but it was something about black men in aggression or something. It was something I'm sure many episodes ago. But I was talking about like we can't keep giving the boys the cop out of like, oh, it was the episode with the men the with the many cases of domestic violence, right? I was like, when you think about boys in schools and in sports, I know there's a coach that go say walk it off. You know what I'm saying? That's where they get their learning from. So
Mhm.
like as they are I have my qualms with them, I also have also have the understanding that doing this stuff for free, and
Yeah.
that if we want, as a next generation, for our nieces and nephews, by blood or not, to have safe spaces to do stuff, we need to get back into the community and start doing the things, and have and bring in our degrees into. We ain't You ain't gonna make no money off of it, and be okay with that, right? Because if you know that there are so many extra things out here, like singing and dancing and piano and all the stuff, like, that the little kids won't be able to get exposed to because their parents can't afford it, but you have the music degree and you have the dance degree or you have the experience. I don't want to get down on us too bad, but I think as a generation we need to start brainstorming. Like,
Yeah.
stop cri- I don't want to see another brunch.
Yeah. Or how about after we do the mentorship, then let's go to brunch? How about that?
Right.
No, I think because I got to wrap anyways. I think I will say this, that would be why this matters to me. I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Why it matters and why this is so important is because it's the girl who say the let's do something beyond for push our kids beyond something to something beyond football so that they don't get caught up in the deadliest summers, right? To circle it all back to this conversation. They're
Mhm.
not wrong. And also, we're not wrong in saying, well, let's just add the layers of nuance that are necessary. And that's sort of a call to our community. And so I really think we need to do a mentorship. I know we keep like, we really need to map out like what that could potentially look like because, and just on our scale, it don't got to be something massive scale, but just like finding ways, even if it's 5 people, right? But
Mhm.
we'll talk more through that. But I will say, yeah, like it just needs to be we really need to be investing in our communities and that don't have to look massive. Because I've been even telling clients that recently, like everybody be thinking, yeah, so one day I'm gonna start a 501c3. As soon as I get, no, please. What's the little child's name that Cyrus? Just find a Cyrus, right? Find somebody needs every young person needs to be seen and validated and yeah, all the things. And so that would be my call to action personally for this episode
Yeah.
would just be to find a mechanism and a way for you to invest in some young people so that we can prevent. Well, Cyrus is his own thing. I ain't gonna act like that was that was his own thing. That's the world that he just inhabited because of everything else. But at a very minimum to try and further advance our community. That's what we need. Each and one teaching one. Okay, what?
Right. I was also gonna say, to add to that, like, I appreciate the not so massive part. Like, everything don't have to be big, everything don't have to be an organization,
Mm-mm,
etc.
mm-mm.
Um, also, mentorship is not that hard. Like, just echo what the parents are saying, because a lot of times we don't listen to our parents
Yep,
as teenagers or as children in general.
I can
So
speak.
just echo what the parents are saying, so that they understand, oh, everybody's saying this, and
Yep,
they repetition, right?
yep, yep,
Um,
yep. I agree.
yeah, I called us out, so my call to this will also be figuring out what I will be adding to this
I love
conver
that.
my
I
own
love.
mentorship, and
I love that.
to my community, and doing that for the girls,
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
boys, for
You
the
know what's
games.
interesting? I will say, even big. I don't know as much about it, but like volunteer for boys and girls, right? And being a
Yeah,
big sister, like big brother, big sister, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I wonder what that process looks like, right?
yeah.
Or like local churches and seeing what they like. I don't know. Yeah, maybe we can. Okay, we could talk offline with that. But yeah, okay. This
We
was a
had to
fun,
cut it short, guys. We're working women. We gotta do
right?
what we gotta do. See y'all next episode. Bye. Love you.